like sitting on the floor today. I don't know why. I've been feeling the urge lately, and I'm like, well, we'll just drape a blanket, we'll have a pillow. Anyway, I want to talk about the importance of self and relying on ourselves to filter the information that we obtain, and why this matters in a sense. Because I think so much of spirituality and other respects really pushes us to have the backing of others to say that our viewpoint is valid. We pretend that just because it's written in a book, it has some substance and some meaning. And while there is some point to that, right? Like there's definitely more people agreeing on something, it means that multiple people have seen something, most people have observed something, and that means it has some importance or has some genuine aspect to it. But that's not always the case, especially when it comes to very curated spiritual practices for individuals. So much of paganism and the craft are about finding a very specific path for ourselves. And so that means that there comes a time when you have to put down the books and really do the work and decide what you want to do or what you really believe, or does even everything that everyone else is saying align with what I know to be my inner, you know, connection to my higher self, to my intuition. Like, does that ring true for me, regardless of what everyone else is saying? And that can be tricky because we're taught to doubt ourselves so much, right? Like, we're taught that that is not something to rely upon. To rely on feeling or intuition alone is to be foolhardy, is to be ridiculous, is to be irresponsible even. And so if we don't have the approval of others or haven't done a path that others have gone down before, we are now the fool. We are the foolish. We are the person who is going to be heading at a speeding pace towards destruction. I have found so much of that is wrong, and especially when it comes to information that is missing. For example, what happens to us after we die? No one knows this for surezies. No one really has a concrete idea. There is not a overall consensus that we have all agreed to that, like, yeah, no, we've all experienced this. That's a thing that happens. So we're all guessing. So to rely entirely on, well, this group of people thinks this, for your own belief on that isn't going to work. And what works for one person is never going to work for another person entirely. That's one of the reasons I think so many people are coming to alternative spiritualities, because they realize that, hey, if this was more customized to me specifically, I might fall in and do a lot more of this. I've realized that a lot. There's a reason why I love looking into a little bit of astrology and a little bit of tarot and a little bit of deep astral work. Not a little bit, that's a lot of that in my practice, but like that's like one of my like big cornerstones. Foundation is the astral. But it's important that I have that little, like, it's my own little equation that all adds up to what will better me. And again, when it comes to information that we don't know, I am kind of coming to a bit of a hard point. When I talked about the crocodile, a lot of people had links and videos and stuff talking about Sobek and things of this nature, which is great, but unfortunately, you know, there's only so much that we really know about the ancient Egyptians and how they worship their gods and how that was looked into, right? I have gone to bookstores looking for way more in-depth specifics. Like, I've asked like anything at all about Sobek. Do you have it? And they're like, I mean, we have this one book that talks about what happens when crocodiles show up in your dreams. I have looked into online articles after online articles and different videos, and some have like a little bit of extra tidbit of information. I'm like, ooh, no, that's new. I need to write that down. Or different people communicating with me saying like, hey, I found this crystal is actually really aligned with crocodiles in one of my random posts that I found. So maybe that'll work for you, and it has. You know, like I was able to take in information from others. But most of what I have found through the working with my deities a lot, and specifically through Sobek, is through my own interaction with him and how that has gone out through my experiences in the astral. For a while I used to think that my experiences in the astral, even if they were so meaningful in the moment, I would eventually put them down in a sense. I would slowly but surely make them lesser than in my mind because they weren't proven by others. They weren't astute as others, right? Like if someone said, hey, I see Persephone in this way, or if a book, if it was written, said, oh, Persephone only appears in this way. These are the aspects of Persephone. This is what she does. I would go, oh, I must be wrong in a sense. Like that would be my first instinct. And it took me quite a bit to go, no, actually. Just because your interaction is written down or you have accumulated a bunch of stuff that even people in olden days did with Persephone, regardless of it is an archetype in my mind that I am dealing with and or it is a deity trying to speak with me from another plane of existence. Like, that communication would be different for me, because to communicate with me is different than trying to communicate with anybody else. It would make sense that I would have my own personalized experience of something. Especially if a deity is trying to like get a message through. The best way to get a message through to speak that specific person's language, you know, is to appear in a way that would appeal to them, is to give lessons that would hit home, right? For me, the first lesson that Persephone had to hit home really hard was perception. Why is how I am perceived, or how other people perceive my matron, a problem for me? Like, why is it that other people's opinions are such an issue? That's the first thing she was like, nope, we gotta knock this out of here. Let's go. Come on, let's talk about it. Need to face this at minimum so we can delve into it further. And it's still something I struggle with. But I think that's something that I have to kind of constantly go back to. That just because it's written in a book doesn't mean it's a more valid opinion than my own experience. And quite honestly, if anything, my own experience should always be the highest, most valued viewpoint that I hold, because it is my spiritual journey. And you should do the same. You should not necessarily listen to me or to any other YouTuber or any other book or any other whatever. Like, it's good to take other people's opinions and experiences into consideration. But ultimately, for your spiritual path, it should be about you. And it should be about your experiences. And if you see things one way, great. If something really vibes well for you, great. If you need to have all of the weird shit on your altar, or not have an altar, or cast circle, not cast circle, whatever the hell it is, whatever you experience in the astral with deities, or, you know, in real life, or whatever the hell it is, like, use that as more of your foundation, your basis, and give credence and value to yourself and the experiences that you have, and really give it some importance, because it is so important. Our own spiritual experiences, regardless of what books say otherwise, right? Anyway, that was just my thoughts for the day. I make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I will see you guys next time.